Hello and welcome to the show. I'm Jacquelene. You're on A1R Psychic Radio and Moonstruck TV, and I'm in Little River, Victoria, on my way out to Warrnambool, the home of the young and the free and possibly the restless. It's certainly a nice place down in Warrnambool. There's actually a lot of whale watching, usually at this time of year, although it would almost be wrapping up. There's also the 12 Apostles, which is just outside of Port Campbell. And not far from where I used to live on the dairy farm as a teenager. So I'm on my way down there to appear at an expo this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, 11:30 both days. I'll be on stage doing live platform readings, picking people randomly out of the audience because why not? That'll be interesting. I'm also doing one-to-one readings at the expo all day, Saturday and Sunday, and Saturday night and Friday night, which is tonight, and then moseying on back to Melbourne, which is about a 3-4 hour drive. Today, I was going to continue on with the journey through the tarot and the major arcana cards and the death card. So it's not always what it seems. It's like death. Okay. So with the death card, it's really interesting how as we've been going through walking through the major arcana each week, it's sort of tied up with world events. And last week I was supposed to come to air talking about the death card, and Queen Elizabeth went and upstaged me as she's entitled to do, I guess. But yeah, I actually couldn't be here last week due to overcoming surgery. But so we've had the death of Queen Elizabeth. We've also had the death of Jack Charles, who is a fabulous and has been a fabulous First Nations leader in Australia. Wonderful actor, has had a just amazing life, gone through incredible trauma, and come out the other side as quite the healer and leader in the community. I won't pretend to speak for him, and I just want to, give my respects to both of those passings of significant people, to a range of different people. And we look at the death card as the ending of something, and so we're sort of looking at the ending here at the moment of a few traditions and starting of new ones. And so in the death card, it's not always literally a death that you're going to come up against. It can be the ending of something significant, the ending of an age, the ending of an era, the ending of a chapter in your book, and you're now going to write a new one. So sometimes the death cards actually can be quite a relief and a release, because it's like, oh, I finally let go of that. That's in the positive aspect of that card. The thing is that with psychics and, why couldn't you predict this or that when it comes to death? The thing is, why couldn't you change it? The thing is that when death is there, it's still there. No matter what you do, you can't escape death. It's like, if you're meant to go, it will find you. You can avoid it as much as you like and try and do that. But if it's your time, it's like, yep, that's it. So you could find that through the death card, it's like a time to recognize something that's, finished or needing to change. It could be an attitude. Some people's careers can go through what seems like a death and a rebirth as well. And so they can even be going from one career industry and then bang, that's just gone. And then new life, new direction, new career. And we find that people will go through maybe 3-4 different, completely different changes in their industry and careers in their lifetime. Whereas in the good old days, people used to start an apprenticeship and then that was it for their whole life. They'd be on that track in that trade or whatever. And with the very, changing nature of our modern society, we've gone from paper bookwork, quite literally, like writing things in pen and paper and tick, 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 typing, like this, to now, using a computer to type up things and enter QuickBooks, and you can, use the internet to enter your receipts onto your relevant accounting software if you're in business, and it's all just done, very automated. And the thing is that people often say, well, this new technology will mean the end of jobs, when actually it can just bring on completely new jobs. The issue can be unskilled labour and finding more jobs for people who maybe aren't going to be able to do highly technical roles. And, having to look at how we can skill people who and maybe have had limited options. And certainly that's where education comes in. But when we're looking at the death card, we're looking at that symbol in your life of, what's needing change or what has already changed, having to come to terms with that change. Sometimes change is thrust upon it and seem quite unfair. And it's really about being able to adapt to that. And when it comes to the passing of loved ones, it's really not about just getting over that. It's about learning to live with them having transitioned. And so that can be incredibly challenging. And it's really important not to try and race that. So if you're going through a death card period, you may need to allow kindness for yourself for the adjustments you need to make emotionally. And sometimes even the death card can be that you've cut away from a whole heap of people, like socially. It can be this like, oh, I'm going within. I'm going to just hang with me for a while and just let go of everything. And so there can be kind of a hibernation involved. And that can seem like that. And when we talk about the winter solstice, that's often, symbols of retreat into the self and dormancy. And we talk about the seed underneath, the surface of the soil, sitting there in wait. And then when spring comes, and once it's germinated and ready to roll, then, up it comes and it breaches the surface, and out comes the new growth of the first leaves coming out above the surface, which often is a symbol of spring. So the winter of our life, or the dark night of the soul, can be that period of, the death card in a way, of, really going through and sitting back and not actually being out there doing a whole heap of things. And we can't be always on, and it's just a bit like when people say, oh, pleasant vibes only and positive vibes only. And it's sort of like, yeah, there's some toxic positivity right there. There can't always be 100% positive vibes. It would be unnatural and possibly lithium assisted. But even then, you've got to come down from something like that, I would imagine. I don't know what lithium does other than, normalize. But, it's just this need to, sometimes allow for the slowing down, the stopping, the withdrawal, and the peace that can actually give you. So if you're having trouble with letting go of things and you're just sort of stuck on that kind of hanging on to the past, or, wanting to let go but not feeling like I'm almost there but I can't quite, sometimes that death card can help you do that, and to not see it purely as death. Maybe even drawing the relevant tarot cards to what you're going through, like a Major Arcana card for yourself, your own version of that card, and not so much going, I'm thinking this process out symbolically. These are the symbols I want to plant here that I've thought a lot about analytically. No. Just push that aside and just breathe and close your eyes and just see what image comes to you that you're needing to restart your life at this time. And, just to stop, to even go in that dormancy, and then what it's going to be like coming out. You can actually maybe even end up with 3 paintings. Could be one that starts off as this death and then ends up in a rebirth. But I would go intuitively with that sort of thing, letting yourself really rest your mind and go into that heart and that just being, and then let the imagery flow and then be going with that. And one thing that used to happen with my students when I was getting them to learn how to do intuitive art was to take the deep breath, and as the fear came up, and it would, because they would say, I can't draw, I can't paint. Yes, you can. Breathe right into that solar plexus, right into that heart, releasing the fear. And all the fears that are coming up, oh, I can't do this or that, you say, it's okay, I'm doing this anyway. And that's something you can do when you're going through, passing through that eye of the needle experience, is it's okay, I can do this, or it's okay, I'm going to be all right. Self-affirmation words are really important. And, even in that death card, we can look at our inner dialogue, like, what are we saying to ourselves? Are you saying things to yourself that are helpful to you? Or is this the voice of your doubters in your life, or the people who held you down? And do you need to change those voices out and start listening to create different energy and in tuning into your own voice, your own inner voice? And things like meditation music and even mantras can help you with that if you're going through this sort of phase of change. When it comes to end of eras and things like that, I guess the thing is we've had a constant leader for 70 years that's been a woman in a world full of male leaders. So, seeing a queen up there speaking and holding such a high position, regardless of the effect of that position, I'm not going to talk about the effect of that position on a range of cultures and how that could be, but I'm going to speak about how that's the platform of a woman around the world being quite a strong leader. That's actually been, I guess, a constant I kind of took for granted because, she was always there. And now that she's gone, it's like, obviously we need more women leaders in our world to balance this up. Our society and our civilization, I think, really needs that to survive and thrive. And so look to the women leaders in your communities, as well as good men, of course, but more also if you're a woman, to look for your role models now to maybe replace that, if Queen Elizabeth's been a leader to you in some way. And maybe also the thing to do during this time is to look at both sides of how her passing is being felt by a range of different peoples, because not everyone feels the same way about this. And I think that's an important discussion to look at. I'm not going to get really super political here today about that. That's not my role. But just to think about the death card and meditate on how that could be a good thing for you might be helpful at this time to look at the regeneration, rebirth process. Anyway, that's been me for today. Catch you next week. What's love to you all. See you in Warrnambool if you're down there. Bye-bye for now.